Hey guys, my name is Dan and welcome back to another video. The first Bachmann catalog of 2025 has finally been released on their website, so today we're going to take a look at everything Thomas related that was revealed in this catalog. 2025 is the 80th anniversary of the Railway series, so most of Bachmann's announcements this year are actually going to be related to that. First up, we're going to look at the HO scale announcements. The first and most exciting one is this 80th anniversary set based on an illustration from the Railway series story Thomas and the Trucks. In this set, you get Thomas, a brown coal truck, a gray ventilated van, and a new and exclusive 20-ton brake van. I wish there was more rolling stock included to make this more of a complete train, but I am happy that the included rolling stock is pretty accurate to the illustrations. The new brake van being an exclusive one is a nice touch too. As for Thomas, it's a little disappointing but also a little surprising. He has a couple minor paint alterations to make him more accurate to the Railway series that you might not have noticed at first glance. His buffers are light gray instead of black, his frontmost pinstripe goes all the way around his smoke box instead of stopping at his side tanks, and his front cab windows are slightly golden instead of yellow. Also, his famous number 1 on the side is a little bit bigger than normal. Besides that, he unfortunately appears to just be a stock standard Bachmann Thomas, which means he's a piece of junk from 22 years ago. I'm really disappointed that we don't get at least a new face or even a darker shade of blue for this model to make it look a bit more like a Railway series Thomas. At a glance, no one will even know that this is an 80th anniversary model, it just looks like a kid took a Sharpie to his Bachmann Thomas. Besides the bigger number 1, all of this detail really is something that you could do yourself in about 5 minutes with some Sharpies. The rolling stock is on point, but I think Bachmann let us down a little bit with the Thomas. Would have loved something a bit more special. Moving on though, that's not the only 80th anniversary special item we have in HO scale. We also have these two box vans. One has the classic Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends logo, and the other has a classic picture of Thomas with the year 1945 printed around him. The vans each have different colors, and I think they look really nice. If I collected HO scale, I definitely would be picking these up. We also have a milk tanker and a blue open carriage, which is a really odd choice for me. Bachmann doesn't have any engines in their Thomas range that would make sense to pull this, so I wonder if this is just hinting that they're secretly working on Steven or something. I kinda doubt it, but I don't know. As for the milk tanker, I don't know why anyone would ever take this over the usual Tidmouth milk tanker. By the way, these last two pieces of rolling stock might not be new announcements, I just don't collect HO scale so I'm not really sure, but I think they might be new. I didn't know about them at least. There's also all this new narrow gauge rolling stock, which I can't really comment on because I don't collect narrow gauge and I don't know what any of this stuff is supposed to be. You gotta go to somebody else if you're interested in this stuff. Now let's move on to what I'm really interested in, N scale. Before I get into the N-scale announcements, I do just want to let you guys know that I will be reviewing all future releases from the Bachmann Thomas N-scale range, as well as going over all of the previous models over time. If you don't want to miss my reviews of Henry, Paxton, Diesel, and all the other announcements when they're eventually released, then be sure to subscribe and ring the notifications bell so you won't miss those videos. Anyway, with the shameless plugging out of the way, let's get into the announcements. In N-scale, for the 80th anniversary, we have two new repaints of existing models. We got green LBSC Thomas and black James from The Adventure Begins. I do have to say, I think it's pretty funny that these engines from the 70th anniversary special are being made in N-scale 10 years later for the 80th anniversary. Bachmann's right on time, as always. Thomas and James are both very good models in Bachmann's N-scale range, so I'm pretty excited to be getting these in the future. I was pretty bummed when they were released in HO scale but not N-scale, so I'm glad that we finally got them. Hopefully they don't take too long to release. I can't imagine we'll have to wait that long considering these are just repaints, but I've been surprised before. The DCC versions of Thomas and Percy have been in these catalogs for years, and you can do that yourself with a soldering iron and a dream. Do expect videos from me on the Thomas and James whenever they do finally come out though. As for all the previously announced engines, we still have Diesel, Paxton, and Henry in the catalog, but no pictures yet. I honestly don't think these will be coming anytime soon. If we can expect the repaints of Thomas and James to be out pretty soon, then I think we'll have to wait a while for these. I don't think it would be a very good business decision for Bachmann to release all of those so close together. So if we do get any of them this year, I think it'll be closer to the end of the year. We haven't seen any previews of these engines yet during Train World's Thomas Tuesday live streams, so I think that means their release is still pretty far out. As for N-Scale rolling stock, we actually have two new wagons. There's a plain red one and a blue Sodor scrap wagon. These don't really get me excited at all since they're just repainted troublesome trucks. I'll be more excited when some more rolling stock with faces are finally released in N-Scale. Also still in the catalog is the 20-ton brake van that was announced last year. Still no picture though. Same goes for the express coaches. They are still here, but no picture. No idea when those will be released. Hannah is here and has a picture, but I think there's been some kind of problem with her release. She was on Train World's website with Henrietta a while ago, but since then she's disappeared, and Henrietta has been released, but without Hannah. Hopefully she'll be out soon. And that's it for the N-Scale announcements this year. Some people might see these N-Scale announcements as a bit of a disappointment, but I think that since we got so much last year, I can't be disappointed at all in this. We already have the next 3 engines announced, and now we have 2 repaints as well, so I can't really complain. I'm honestly pleasantly surprised that we're getting these special versions of engines in N-Scale. I thought that was just going to be an HO thing. Hopefully we get some more interesting ones in the future. Last up is G-Scale, which I don't know too much about, but it looks like they are also getting the LBSC Thomas just like an N-Scale, but without the black chains. There's also a DCC Sound Thomas, but I think that might have already been announced. I'm not sure because I don't really keep up with G-Scale. And that's about it for G-Scale. People who say G-Scale Bachmann Thomas is dead are probably right. Anyway, that about wraps it up for the first 2025 catalog from Bachmann. Please let me know in the comments what you're excited about, what you're not excited about, and what you hope comes in the future. Personally, I hope that we get Edward or Mavis next in N-Scale. I would really enjoy having either of those in my collection. Edward seems like he might be pretty hard to make though. I'm interested to see what Bachmann does with that. Of course, anything Bachmann does release will be reviewed on this channel, so be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any of that. Anyways guys, that's going to be about it for today's news video. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, rate, favorite, share, +1, anything else you can do on YouTube, and I will see you later.